Welcome back to Arc Salt Lake. We cover authentic, relevant, and community stories. And
That's right.
Talking about community now.
Yes, we have Making Women's Voices Heard Through Quilting, and we are so thrilled to be joined here with Dr. Jessica Priest and Emma Adams from Women Building Peace.
Okay, this is an organization hosting a national quilt-in event in Washington, D.C. later this month. So for the last few months, you've been inviting women from across the country to write messages, and you made quilts out of their messages.
Yes, it has started in Utah, which is a pretty fun thing about it, with Jessica, and then it's grown to thousands of women across the country.
Okay, what made you want to start this?
Well, I just really think it's wonderful when women get together, they're able to raise their voices and speak out in these ways that are very community building and making something concrete. And so that was really the motivation.
Something tactile.
Yes,
Something you can feel.
Yes, exactly.
And you can talk while you're doing it, and you can work through issues. And
it's like a modern quilting bee, right?
So did people get together?
Yes.
I mean, not just to write their messages, but to sew them together.
Yeah, so we've had thousands of women come across the country. We actually have messages from all 50 states in these quilts, and we have over 50 quilts that we're going to be delivering in D.C. next week. And we're actually going to be finishing sewing them together in the public square in D.C.
Amazing. And so what are some of the messages that people have come up with?
Yeah, so it's really themed around supporting the Constitution. We have different political ideologies, but we all agree that the checks and balances that are listed in the Constitution are essential to our country's happiness and growth. And so you can see some of the messages.
Read us some of these. If you
want to
read
read
upside
some?
down.
Yeah, well, country over politics. I love this quote from Thomas Jefferson that says, "Remember, whenever the people are well informed, they can be trusted with their own government." And this idea that our voices really matter, and we need to be communicating with our legislators.
This one, let's talk to each
Let's
other.
talk to each other. I think that's another motivation, is this idea of sort of women building peace together, stitching peace together, piece by piece.
So it will send a message, but what do you hope to accomplish?
Well, I think there's a lot of things we want to accomplish. One is we want to bring people together from different political ideologies around a common shared value of support for our Constitution. Sometimes we argue a lot about politics, both in our family group text chats and within our homes and other places, and this is a way for us all to come together.
Yeah, and to talk about constitutional government, rule of law, checks and balances, all of these kinds of things in a peaceful and creative way.
And do you feel like, and why do you feel like, that this creative approach is resonating with so many different people?
I think creativity, I mean, there's a lot of same old in politics, and so being able to do something that's a little bit different and to be able to raise our voices in a way that isn't necessarily going to a march or writing a letter, but is this sort of like beautiful creative kind of thing, I think that's very resonates with lots of women.
What's next for your movement after you head to the Capitol?
Well, so this has all come together in about a 6-week period. So we're going to sleep a little bit, but we're going to go to we've built this movement of thousands of people. So we're going to ask them to come to us and say, what do you want to do next? And this all has been based on the desires and hopes and dreams of women. So we'll be doing what's next and for what they need.
And I think we really hope that these quilts will resonate. So this is for Senator Lee, right? And we would really love for him to be able to take it, and I don't know, maybe it'll end up on his wall or something. And he loves the Constitution, and we do too. So
okay, and it's so good to see everybody coming together.
It is. Yep. And forgive me if we already asked this, but how is it this quilt, or how many quilts are there?
We have 57 quilts so far and counting. They keep showing up in our mailbox, and they're not all finished yet. We're going to actually tie them together in D.C. next week. We're going to metaphorically and literally tie all these words together, and then we're going to be delivering them.
Okay, where is that going to happen? And when?
Yeah, so it's Tuesday, May 6th, all day near the Capitol. At our website, womenbuildingpeace.org, you can sign up to RSVP and get access to the information about where it's going to be.
Will you be streaming it live?
We will be all over our Instagram.
Just wondering.
Yes, our Women Building Peace Instagram is also, we'll have lots and lots of photos, lots of pictures, and we'll actually have blank quilts. So anyone who stops by could come and write their own message on it right there.
Yeah, so come to D.C.
57 quilts like this
and
already.
counting.
And counting.
In
maybe
6
more
weeks.
Within a few, it's next week.
It's next week, yeah.
But people can still get involved. That's pretty amazing. And is there anything else that you'd like people to know about this movement and this creative way that you're doing it?
I would say just to know that this quilts have been used for women's sort of activism for centuries, right?
Quilting bee.
Yeah, quilting bees, and lots of quilters are maybe familiar with the Drunkard's Path quilt pattern. It's kind of a famous one. But that was actually from the women's temperance movement back at the beginning of the 1900s. And so there's this sort of long history of quilt as activism.
And there are not many people who are anti-peace
That's right.
or anti-constitution.
We hope not, right?
So
Yeah.
you're finding things to bond over instead of argue about.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Is there any arguing allowed?
Well, I mean, we can always
Robust conversation
robust conversations.
is encouraged
Conversation.
always. Yes, yes.
Okay.
We need to work out our differences. Quilting is a great way to do it.
Okay. And once again, the website.
Womenbuildingpeace.us, and you can also go to our Instagram at womenbuildingpeace.
Okay.
Well, Dr. Jessica Priest and Emma Adams from Women Building Peace, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Have
you.
fun next week.
Yes.